Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about today I'm going to be talking about Index Card RPG, and specifically the one shot that I ran for F14A Tomcats, U.S. fighter jets versus a dragon. Right now, this is essentially either the last part or close to the last part of the story, and essentially what it is this is what happened at the end when the fighter jets actually reached the dragon. So at this point, what's happened is the player characters have been approaching from long distance this dragon Venanguia safe through a lightning storm and then through a mountain pass. The players had to fly through the mountain pass, Millennium Falcon Han Solo style, and one of them slammed into the side of the mountain, and their F-14 Tomcat was destroyed. That player was killed. That was Mike. He was the first casualty of the game. And at that point, the rest of the players, Ted and Dom and Bill and Elisa, punched through. Okay, now Bill's already shot. He's already had his action for the turn, and this is just his action for the turn, and he has hit the dragon with 2 long-range missiles. Mike had hit the dragon with 2 long-range missiles before he died. The dragon has been hit by 4 AM-54 Phoenix long-range missiles and has lived, right, because it's the dragon. And then so they punch through. Ted comes in, and what he does is Ted's coming in from over the mountain, and he hits his afterburners, comes into medium range, and is going to use his sidewinders, right, and his medium range sidewinders. So he punches off both sidewinders, and he misses nothing, right? He gets nothing from his attack, right? At that point, Bill and Mike had already attacked. So that at this point, Dom comes in to attack, okay, and basically Dom actually comes in for his attack. He is firing at long range because he's behind, right? And you know what? I think Dom fired after one of the other players because he used a special ability called Air Superiority, which was his flying style, and one of the advantages of that was if the dragon had been just hit on the last turn. So I think it was Bill fired and hit, and then Dom fired directly after that, and then Ted fired. Sorry about that. So Dom, when he fired his 2 long-range missiles, he was following Bill's successful hit, which allowed him to hit for 2 more long-range missiles, 1d6, 1d6. And then in addition to that, his air superiority gave him the ability to do 1d8 additional damage, right? So this is now 6 long-range missiles have hit the dragon, okay? And of course, Dom makes his rolls to see if his missiles actually knock the dragon unconscious. They do not. And then last is Elisa. She's the last fighter jet pilot for the turn. She fires off her 2 long-range missiles. She hits Venanguia safe and knocks him out, right? So Venanguia safe, this dragon that is over the city of Spire on Thracion, about to descend and breathe fire on it, right? Is also surrounded by a whole bunch of Griffin Knights, Elven Knights on Griffins, who are trying to kill it, kill the dragon as well. And by the way, each player character had to roll casualty numbers for the Griffin Knights that they killed hitting the dragon with the long-range missiles. So, like, I think a total of 14 Griffin Knights had died, just now, of course. So the player, and I'm giving the player characters a sense, the players, your actions are killing other heroes here. Now, the reality is 14 Griffin Knights, died, 14 Griffins and 14 Elven Knights, but the reality is they're trying to save 7,500 people on the ground, and war is not good, right? Okay, we all learned that from Gundam, right? So, at this point, they're going forward, and so Venanguia safe starts tumbling out of the sky, and I explain, Venanguia safe has been knocked unconscious in the middle of the sky. He begins to tumble down toward the city, and you see that he's going to strike some buildings and probably kill dozens or even well over 100 people in the city just with his body hitting the ground, right? And so one of the players, I thought this was awesome. the players had been earning these benefits, these advantages through the game. This was Bill. So I was giving out MRPs, milestone reward points. These are points that you add up to get. You needed 5 of them to get a roll to get a milestone reward, which is a specific thing with it. It's like leveling in Index Card RPG. And he said, I want to trade in some of my milestone reward points. And you had explained that, there's this great tall spire in Spire, this very tall building with, this cresting spire. I want the dragon to fall on that and be killed, right? Because it's unconscious right now, but I want it to be impaled on the highest spire of the city, the building in the city. And I was like, that's brilliant, right? And so I said, you give me as many of your MRP points as you want, and for every MRP milestone reward point you give me, I'll give you a 5% chance, right? So it's just going to be a roll of a d20. Right now, if you give me 1, that's going to be, you'll have a 5% chance. You get it if you hit a 20. If you give me 3, it'll be on a 29, 19, or an 18. You have a 15% chance. He gives me all 3 of his milestone rewards points. Fails the roll. So the Venanguous safe falls, hits the ground, right? Does kill. We rolled, it was like 80 people killed just from his body hitting a tavern, a church, and like a stable, right, that are in the city. And at that point, the doppelganger wizard navigators are like saying, hey, we've knocked him out, we've got to kill him because he's going to get back up, we've got to kill them. And Ted, his player character, goes, I got this, right? And he goes, I'm going to jet my F14A Tomcat into the air, doing a 180 sweep fall, and then hit my thrusters and take my plane and use my plane, my F14A Tomcat, as a missile, and I will do an eject at the last possible. I'll eject myself. And so I said, hey, do you want to eject right away? In which case there's going to be more range on where your plane actually lands, or do you want to eject at the last possible safe moment? And at the last possible moment, and then so basically right now the difficulty is a 9. You need to hit a 9 to live, right? If you eject really early, that goes down to a 6 because it's an easy roll. That's how Index Card RPG works. And if you eject at the last possible moment, it's going to be a 12. You need to hit a 12 to eject safely. So he says, I'm going to hit at the last possible moment so I have the best possibility of killing Venanguous safe, right? So he does. He takes his F-14 Tomcat, hits the thrusters, and uses it. And so I didn't even make him roll. His F-14A Tomcat slams into Venanguous safe, the dragon, kills the dragon, kills it outright, kills an additional 60 people, which we determined randomly with a roll. Collateral damage because they're saving 7,500 people. And then what ends up happening is we say, we make the roll to see if Ted remains alive. He fails the roll. He dies as well, although his navigator did make the roll and lived. And at that point, all of the player characters circle around the city in like a victory lap. They then land on a special magically created landing strip, right? Runway, which is created from elevation stones, and all these wizards are like levitating their ship. They have a quick talk with King Zaquet and Queen Avanch, who invite them to stay on that world, and that they will send doppelgangers back to take their place. And every single player character said, nope, I'm going back to Earth. I'm not staying here and being treated as a barren hero on this world while a doppelganger does my job back on Earth, which I thought was awesome. And that was the end of, and then they all flew back through the portals, and all the navigators left with them. Actually asked King Zaquet, can I go back and be with this person who I have been their navigator for 2 years? I want to live on Earth and be their friend. And so all the pilots, the 3 remaining pilots, Elisa, Ted, and Dom, all go back. Bill's dead, Mike is dead, and Ted is dead. I'm sorry. And so the living ones were Elisa, Bill, and Dom. Ted and Mike were dead, and that was the end of our dragons, our U.S. fighter jets versus dragons, and the answer is 5 F14A Tomcats will kill a dragon at long range with their long-range missiles. Please consider liking and subscribing, and let me know what you think. Thank you very much. Take care.